Welcome to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host Miithyl, a show made exclusively for solopreneurs, artists, and coaches who wants to build their digital empire. With 15 plus years of business experience, I cover topics on personal branding, content creation, and digital marketing on this show and invite many guests who share the same passion like mine. Today we have an amazing guest on our show. His name is Jeff Cohen. Let me introduce him before we bring him onto the platform. So he goes and he says that stop being just accountable, be count onable. The new patent pending process and the method that will lift, shift, and empower you and your entire team. Freedom is a dream of every CEO and entrepreneur. Developing leaders and teams with an ownership mindset is the ticket to this fabled haven. Jeff, the founder of six businesses, now presents Count on Able as the new and the rapid success framework that guides CEOs and entrepreneurs to make this happen. So, without wasting of our time, let's bring Jeff onto the show. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me today.
Awesome, Jeff. So, Jeff, can you share your backstory with all of us?
Sure. So I am an entrepreneur. I have been my whole life. And I think, where I got my start uh, was actually unexpected. I was 8 years old. A lot of kids will have a lemonade stand or something else as they're growing up, right? I did those things. But when I was 8, I wrote all of the professional sports teams in the United States and I asked them to send me stickers. I figured I'd get a sticker from each one. Instead, I got a stack of stickers from each one. It was like enormous. And I approached my mom and I said, "Hey, mom, that wall, that's the one I want to put them on." And she immediately said no. Um, so that being shot down, my other option was put them on my notebook. Obviously, it was way more than would fit on a book, but I did that and I brought them to school. And suddenly my friends were asking if they could buy them. And I wound up selling all those stickers. I made 50 bucks, a lot of money at the time, especially for an 8-year-old, right? My dad says, "Jeff, you're an entrepreneur." I'm like, "Wow, that's awesome. What's that?" And I've kind of been living that dream ever since. And, in my adult life, I've started six companies. I was on Shark Tank with one of them. I had a very fast growing technology firm. We grew from 0 to 50 people in about 2 years. It was super high growth and really high stress. And I'm sure we'll talk a little more about those experiences today.
Absolutely, Jeff. So, Jeff, since you are an expert when it comes to accountability, but one thing that I have seen, Jeff, is that when it comes to accountability, I have seen there is a bit of a resistance in people, and that's where, because of that resistance, I have seen that not many people are able to achieve to their fullest potential and to the results which they expect. So, Jeff, according to you, why do you think that people resist being accountable?
It really starts with the basis of the word accountable. If you look it up in the dictionary, the definition says something like to hold someone responsible. Now, listen, I don't know about you, but I don't like being held. There's no freedom in that. It's like someone's forcing you to do something. And I mean, let's face it, you can try and force outcomes all you want, but that will never get you where you want to be. Forcing an outcome is, well, when it comes to being accountable, it's almost like being held at gunpoint. You are being put in a position where someone is going to hold you accountable, but often what's missing is the part of the process where that gets managed. So, a lot of us, Miithyl, want to not be considered micromanagers. Being a micromanager is not a good thing, right? So they trust people. They say, "Okay, Miithyl, I'm going to trust you. You're going to do the dishes for us." And you go and you start doing whatever else you're doing. You hate doing the dishes. It's not your thing. And so what happens? Well, they don't get done on time. For me, they stack up in the sink. It's the same thing at work. On Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, when you've got a delivery that is been requested weeks and weeks ago, and it's totally not on your mind. You get the phone call from your boss or your CEO at 4 o'clock Friday afternoon, right before the long weekend. And they say, hey, where is this? When am I going to get it? But that's the first conversation you're having since it was assigned. So why is that you're accountable for it, but there's no management of the structure? It really sets people up to fail and not succeed. It impacts their confidence. It impacts their desire to be in communication with you. And it also impacts their connection with you and with your company.
Wow. So that is very crucial to have the accountability as a very vital role in being an essential team member, and not just essential, rather any team member should be accountable in order to get the entire goal of the institution or the company or business to reach to where it was decided. But one thing, Jeff, I have seen that the epitome of dream, whether it's a CEO or whether it's an entrepreneur, is freedom. So, why do we have to focus, Jeff, on creating entrepreneur freedom?
We don't. However, it's my mission in life to help other CEOs and founders and business owners. First off, never go through the crap that I've been through. Let me just tell you, we'll talk about it. There's no question you can't ask me about the bad stuff. Believe me, there's plenty of that. And I just want to own it all because there's freedom when you take ownership. But, most of us have this dream of running a company, building a company, selling a company, and then doing it again, or buying a private island and living our life out in luxury, right? And if you are the most important person in your company and you're running the business, or you're the most important person in your department and everyone has to come to you, there is no freedom. In fact, what you've really done is you've eliminated your ability to sell your company without you. Now, most people, when they sell a company, they want to walk away, right? Instead, what happens is they get offers for the company, by the way, if they get offers, right? And those offers require them to stay for 5 years and have a 5-year earnout, which means you don't get all the money you've sold the company for until 5 years and the metrics and milestones that you promised are reached. The percentage of the time that that happens is a lot lower than people think. So, it's not worth being the most important person. It also, frankly, impacts your family. I can't remember a single vacation I had early on where I wasn't working 2 to 4 hours a day. You feel handcuffed by your business. It's supposed to be the thing that gives you the ability to take time off and have family time. You're not doing this just for you. You're doing this for, the security of a future for your family. And when you are the most important person in your company, it's a lot less secure than you think.
I totally agree with you, Jeff, on this particular part. But Jeff, there comes a time when you are at a leadership position, and there are times where you can't hold someone accountable for something. So what to do at that time, because sometimes we work with family as in a business, sometimes we have friends as partners, or anyone who knows us very well or has been worked with us for a very long time, and that makes us in a soup where we want to hold them responsible and accountable for the things that they're supposed to do, but they're not doing it, but probably because of some X factor we are not able to say something to them. So what should be done in that time?
So, Miithyl, one of the things that's really key and an important point about being accountable is that we we have a lot of history about it, and like for me, 20 years ago, I had a software company. We had been focusing on helping Fortune 500 and Global 2000 companies to be agile development software businesses. And we were highly effective at it. One of my partners, Mac, wrote a book, was co-author of a book that we leveraged in all of the processes. And what I noticed over the years was, well, that was really just iterative accountability. And what that really means is it's breaking pieces down to their smallest component and then having a opportunity to trust somebody to do the work, but then making sure there's a weekly verify point where you actually get to check in on it. Because here's the thing that exists for most people, Miithyl. Most people have something that they're really strong at, their strengths show up there. They also have something that they're weak at. They have things they love doing. They have things they hate doing, right? And they have things they're good at and things they're not so good at. So the real question becomes, how do you align an individual with the things they're strong at, love doing, and are good at? Now, most organizations think they have a way of doing it through an interview process. And then at the end of the interview process, what'll often happen is, you want to hire this person. They know they want the job offer, right? And because you have another gap in your business and you like this person that you're interviewing, you say, hey, by the way, can you also do the dishes for us? Now, you've got no proof that it's something that they love doing, that they're good at, really turns them on. It caters to their strengths. You don't know any of that. Yet you've just taken this person that's an A player and you've given them a B job. And odds are they're going to start disappointing you from day one. And now you're going to turn this A player you hired into a B player. Or another scenario, which is you've got great people on your team. Let's face it, over time, people's wants and needs and desires change. They want to grow. They want to learn new things. They want a different role. But you're always hiring them for what their experience shows that they've done and done well in the past, not for where they're at today. And you're not paying attention all the time to what it is that they want to do tomorrow. So what I did was I got together in 2013 with about 50 CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs. And we started looking at what doesn't work in our companies. And specifically, I was in a program called the Team Management and Leadership Program. And that program gave me the strength and power and confidence to be with all of these really powerful people and listen to where they want to be and what might not be working in their organizations. And we found it. We found one common thread that had these organizations have difficulty. And I'm going to tell you, Miithyl, it's not just in organizations that this thread lives. It lives in our personal lives. So, every time that I went and I looked for something that I could improve in my business, I actually found something that made a difference in my personal life. So here's what the one common thread is. The one common thread is effective communication. Now, what was not working about that in general for organizations? Well, first off, I found everybody has a different definition of what effective communication is to them. But I also found a common definition that really works. And I'm going to share that with you right now. So effective communication happens when you've said something and the person on the other end not only hears you, but is able to repeat it back and understands the commitment you have toward that. And I'm going to give you an example of effective communication in real life. You can apply it to business or any other situation you have, but I was visiting some friends with my wife in San Diego. We went out to dinner. My friend took his 7-year-old daughter. I took our 1-year-old foster daughter. Um, and she's not yet walking. She can stand up, but she's a little, uncomfortable on her feet. And our wives went and they were doing a business event of their own that night. So it was just the guys and the girls. Um, anyway, so we went to dinner in this wagon. And my friend pulled the wagon. I was behind it the whole time, got comfortable. Things went just fine. After dinner, we're on the way from dinner to frozen yogurt. I was up in the front talking to my friend. We're about at the frozen yogurt place. I turn my head and I see my 1-year-old. And she's standing up in the moving wagon. She's got tears running down her eyes. She's in fear. And I had my friend stop and I went and picked her up and I comforted her. And then I put her back down in the wagon. And I said to my friend's daughter, I said, "Hey, honey, I'm just curious." She was looking at her video game on her phone. Did you notice that she was crying? And she goes, "Yeah, I told you." And I said, "Wow, clearly I didn't hear you. Can I ask you a favor?" She said, "Sure." I said, "If that happens again, or if something happens and you need me to know it, can you make sure that I answer you when you say something to me?" And then she said, "Got it," and went right back down to her video game. Now, most people would have left it there because we're used to the term "got it." Fact of the matter is, are you really sure she got it? I wasn't. So I just simply said to her, "Hey, honey, I'm curious. What'd you get?" And I looked at her as she searched in her brain for 15 seconds what it was that I said. And then she said, "You want to make sure that I hear you reply to me." And I said, "Perfect. Thank you so much. I will be eternally grateful if you do that." Now, that's a conversation with a 7-year-old. That's not a conversation that often happens with people. In fact, when bosses and CEOs and owners, business owners and entrepreneurs are moving very fast, they don't often take time to verify and to make sure that something locked in. So Miithyl, when you say "got it," it doesn't necessarily tell me that you got it. It tells me you're getting me off your back. You don't want to hear any more right now. The little Tasmanian devil that's running around in between each side of your brain, banging against the walls of your skull and thinking about picking up the laundry, or that you've got to do the dishes, or whatever it is that you need to do. Like that little guy, that's the guy that's got you, not me.
Absolutely. And very rightly said, Jeff, that since everyone is in a hustling mode, and there is a speed in the organization and the company, so many a times this effective communication goes for a toss. And if not done in the right way, the company actually gets a downturn towards the negative side. So, Jeff, based on your expertise, what is the most important thing that someone can do to move their company to be count onable?
So first off, Miithyl, thank you for getting the word right. A lot of people break it up into the 3 syllables because we put the hyphens in between. But it's count onable. And how do we move from being an organization that wants to be accountable? Because I will tell you that if you think you're an accountable organization, you need to take another look. Accountability takes 2 things. 2 people. You've got to have one person that's accountable and another person that manages the delivery of what they're accountable for. It's like Ronald Reagan said in the mid-1980s when he signed the deal with Mikhail Gorbachev about nuclear arms. He said, "Mikhail, we are going to trust you to remove all those nuclear weapons. And then we're going to send teams of people in to verify that you've removed them. Well, the thing is that we all want to trust. HubSpot has a great presentation I found on the web, 100 pages about how much they trust their people. Not a single page in there about verification. There are a lot of other systems out there, EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, and Scaling Up, that are amazing systems. And they all say things like have the right person in the right time, doing the right thing at the right time. Something no one would disagree with. How do you know you have the right person? How do you know it's the right thing? How do you know it's the right time? Miithyl, the issue that exists in the world for most of these organizations is very simple. Two things. One is they're not aligned. The CEO wants to go down one path, and the CMO hears what it is, interprets it the way they want to interpret. Then they hop in their sports car. Maybe they're in a Ferrari or a Tesla, or pick a fun, fast car, right? And they get on the freeway and they're going one way, and the CEO is going another. But guess what? You got to multiply that by the other 5 or 6 executives that are part of that team. Alignment is often out, and there's not a regular checkpoint to ensure it stays in. That's what having a system does for you. But it doesn't build trust in your team. And that's the other big thing. You can be aligned, but trust is another story. So I created a framework called the Trust Alignment Framework. And what it basically says is there are different components that you need to have the Trust Alignment Framework actually work for you. And when you have those things, you will be in a position that allows you the ability to know that the outcome you want will exist. Now, the thing that's often missing, Miithyl, from the conversation is that even though you've got a vision from the leader and you know what the priority of actions is, you've got shared values and you know what the abilities of resources are, some of those things change over time. Managing that is not always easy. And, managing people is a lot different than managing promises. Most people managers are doing just that. They're working to manage people. My suggestion is that you stop worrying about managing people. People don't want to be managed. You don't want someone telling you how to do things your whole life. It drives me crazy when someone says to me, "Hey, Jeff, can you wash the dishes? And when you wash them, can you scrub with a clockwise motion on the plate?" Really? Why do I need a clockwise? Why can't I go counterclockwise? Why can't I soak it and then scrub back and forth? Like, what's the problem? But they tell you exactly how they want it done. Now, there's no empowerment in that. In fact, you're actually disempowering people and making them question their ability, skill, and impacting their desire to do the task. Stop that. You don't want to do that. You want to empower your people. You want to think about the outcome that you want to have. And then instead of being a person that has emotions show up in their communication, be a person that thinks about the outcome and communicates from what you want. Because the other really key thing that I work with clients on all the time, Miithyl, is I help people understand that there's 2 states. There is what you want, and then there is being right. Now, if you're right, then going clockwise to wash the dishes, that's the only way to do it. If you want clean dishes, let me just clean the dishes. Just say, "Hey, Jeff, could you do the dishes?" Don't tell me I've got to do them, with a clockwise motion or some other nonsense. Just tell me, "Hey, Jeff, I'm going to check in with you in our weekly verify meeting and see how it's going next week." And when we get there, right, the dishes will either be done, they will have been started, or they will not have been started. And then we get to assess, Is this the right resource to do that task? And the secret of being countable is when you and your people know what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you're good at and not good at, what you love and what you hate doing. Now, if you put those three things together and you're the employee, you now have your dream job. If you have your dream job, how soon are you going to leave? It's pretty rare.
Absolutely.
It would take an awful lot, right, for you to leave your dream job.
True.
So if you're the employer, the impact of someone having the dream job means, oh, I'm not going to need to replace someone in that role often. I'm going to retain a lot of the culture and the goodness that we have in the company. I don't have to teach someone new about it. I actually have people in the company that are going to help other people get up to speed on what that is. It also means all of the important things that that person does don't have to be retrained to someone else. All the relationships that that person has, well, they stay with your organization. And so the countable process and method, which I'm patenting right now, is it's designed to give you the power to let your people be leaders. And in them being leaders, empower them to help other people in your business be leaders too. Because leaders take charge. Leaders have an ownership mentality.
Absolutely.
When you sell a company that has leaders in all of the positions, you can just walk away because the
True.
buyer knows your business is going to grow with and without you. And by the way, on the way to making that sale, here's the thing you get to do. You actually get to have a relationship with your spouse and your kids and your other family. Like you're actually not handcuffed and shackled to your business. That's what you get. And that's what being countable is like to me.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I know that was a lot, Miithyl. I just want to check in. Like, what are you taking away so far from what I'm sharing?
I'm loving it. The way the accountable process, the technique, the concept altogether is primarily making a person own the actions that are supposed to be done and lead without a title. So in that way, the actions are actions coordinate with the results, and that's where everyone is at peace and the work is done.
It's possible. I just want to change one word that you used. I do that sometimes. It's a minor detail. I have this whole list of four-letter words. People can find that on the website and they can add to it also. These are words that are disempowering words. Um, no, they're not cuss words, although they could be. Uh, but they're my view of four-letter words, right? And so the word that you used was made. So made provides the connotation to me that there's some forced action that's occurring,
Okay.
right? So just keep in mind that, with every action, there's an opposite reaction, right?
True, true,
And
true. Newton's third law.
right. So I mean, there are words on that list like made, like hope. Hope is a great word. Try is another great one. We're always trying and hoping. Why can't we just be doing? Why do we have to try? You know, when
Absolutely.
you say, "Gee, I hope it stops raining," really? You have some control over that? If you can do that, I'm all in.
Totally, totally, Jeff. So, Jeff, with this, we come to the end of the first phase of the interview, and we would begin the second phase, and everyone knows, the audience knows that the second phase is all about rapid fire round. So, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and what is the first thing that comes in your mind? You would have to share. So, are you ready?
Okay, I am ready. Rock and roll.
Awesome. So let's make it a little intense. Let's zoom in. All right. So, Jeff, the very first question: who do you admire the most?
There are a lot of people I admire a lot. And my dad, who passed away close to 40 years ago, is there at the top of my list.
Wow.
He
That,
made a mark in the world. He came from an impoverished family. His parents were first generation in the United States from Prussia. Um, and he was super smart, and just everybody loved him. And he had probably the biggest impact on my life of anybody I know.
wow, Jeff. Awesome. So, Jeff, coming to the second question, describe yourself in 3 words.
That's a great question. So I'm count onable.
Lovely, lovely, Jeff. Awesome. So, Jeff, what is the one thing that you would like to put on your bucket list in 2022?
Well, it's great that you asked me about my bucket list. I have one. I used to have it printed on the back of my business card. Um, and my wife and I love doing things. We love traveling, and we love, like, I love being airborne. So in 2022, I want to go parasailing again over the cliffs in La Jolla. And I want to get back to traveling like the world again with my wife and our foster daughter. I just really, I miss those things. The pandemic has kept us from some of the things we just absolutely love. So yeah, those are a couple of things on my bucket list for 2022.
Awesome, Jeff. So, Jeff, if a movie was to be made on your life, who would play your role and what genre would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. So my son's in the film business. Um, and you know, I would love to think that this would be like an action adventure movie
Wow,
that's got a love story built in, right? Because my
absolutely.
wife will only come to it if there's a love story. She won't do the action adventure piece. So it's got to be like, I show her Star Wars and I tell her, oh no, it's a love story, honey. And she doesn't believe that. Um,
Cool.
I think any actor I would choose that would play me and my life and my role. Gosh, I think Brad Pitt would be great. I was just reading some stuff about him and his discipline and his um, his structure. He gets up like 2:30 in the morning, life and his family, and we need more.
Awesome, awesome, Jeff. So we are coming to the last question. So, who is your favorite superhero and why?
You know, I I'm old school when it comes to superheroes.
All right.
I love Superman because like this all day long he's Clark Kent. When the costume comes off,
He's a
no more
Superman.
glasses, right? And now he's Superman. Now, how people don't get that transition is beyond me, but that was the show Superman in black and white that I remember growing up on as a kid.
True.
Um, but I love the cape. I love the big emblem in the front. I just and more importantly, I love that he was ingrained in daily life. Clark Kent was a reporter. He was, doing such a good job of being the bumbling reporter until someone needed him, and then he'd swoop in and fix the day and be Mr. Superhero. And that's what I remember most about Superman.
Awesome, Jeff. So, Jeff, thank you for participating in the rapid fire round. I hope you enjoyed it.
Sure, absolutely. That was fun.
Awesome. So, Jeff, all the people who are listening to this particular episode, if they want to connect with you and understand more about the countable as well as the technique, how can they do that?
So, first off, I invite you to come to our website. It's www.countonable.com, and it's spelled Countonable. So come to countonable.com. There, you'll get lots of resources that are just free. Just go ahead and download them. If you want to check the book out right now, you can go there and download a copy of the first chapter. You get the introduction and all the chapter list, so you can actually see everything that's in the book. By the way, it's a really easy read. I wrote it for people like me that have attention deficit disorder, right? So every chapter is 3 or 4 pages long. You can pick it up at lunch and read 1 or 2 chapters and then put it down and, just keep moving. We also have the entire process that's patent pending is in the book and available for anybody. I've open sourced it. Anybody can use it. And if you need some support, you'll be able to join a group to get some support or join our community and ask some questions. Or if you'd like to look at having someone from my team help you, you can book an introduction conversation where we can learn about, what it is you want and look and see, what the gap would be to get there with you. So you'll be able to do all of that from our website. Again, that's www.countonable.com.
So the link will be available in the description below. Do check out the link, connect with Jeff because he is super awesome, super powerful, like Clark Kent. And so he's not wearing the glass right now, so he's Superman. So do connect and learn the power of accountability. So yeah, we have Clark Kent again. Awesome. So Jeff, before we end this particular episode, what is the one message that you wish to give to all our audiences?
That is really an excellent question, and I want you all to listen very carefully. It's a very simple message. Stop just being accountable. Be countable.
This was like a mic drop.
Perfect.
Awesome, Jeff. So thank you so much, Jeff, for taking out your valuable time and sharing the importance of first the accountability and then slowly evolving into countable. And that's how the entire process will evolve going ahead. So thank you so much once again, Jeff. It was lovely talking to you.
Miithyl, thank you so much. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk to you and your listeners. And, I can't wait to hear from you guys. Please feel free to reach out. It'll be great to connect.
Awesome. So you have just listened to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host Miithyl. Thank you so much for listening to our show and giving so much love. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on the podcast platform which you are listening to. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the red button. This is Miithyl signing off with Jeff at the moment. Until next time, meet you soon with another guest and their exciting stories. But until then, keep rocking, stay safe, be countable, and don't forget to keep creating content. Ciao.